So it's nice to be able to help work on so many TV commercials as a service. But what's nice about me and Alina thing, it's like, heavily executive and directed by them as well as me, got in charge of the direction, working with the directors of the Harry Potter films, as in like the designers. Anything you see designed, anything like it's them. It's just, so it is a pinch really done. I did put some on to about Peach Me. But I remember when my first studio was there, it was in this back little office that I'd like, what do you want to do with this room, Drew? And I was like, well, brick everything out, paint it all black. And they were like, what? I was like, that lovely, 18th century window, board that up. I was like, this will become my dungeon. Sleeping on floors, because I couldn't afford, I can't afford to be in there. I slept in gutters, I slept in bus stops. I thought I was like, because I love music and fashion and stuff, but I thought I was like a rock and roll animator, so I'd get really drunk. I need to go back to the Drew of everyone needs to know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And that cringe element of like, it's cringe to the people that you're working with in the sector, but at the end of the day, they are going to get to work and that's great, but I need to prioritise and who's really keep the business going and the new clients and the continued clients. If you're really clear of like, it has to do this and it has to do that, they'll literally time it to it. They'll just put it on the same timeline on the animation software. And when they're playing with the puppet, it's like, right, at this point, I have to hit that little jerk. And so it gives them that reference. You sometimes meet when you've met your match and you're like, oh, fucking hell, we're going to clash here because we're so similar. But you always find ways to kind of navigate. But I agree, it's like, I think as a creative or as an individual, when you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, you always admire what they're doing, or that the grass is greener, isn't okay, good they are, well, really not knowing how hard it is. So there's always that admiration for other people, when actually when you get to meet them, it's like, oh, I'm glad I'm this and I'm glad they're doing that, because then I don't think I could do that. But you admire it. It's showing appreciation for someone, isn't it, really? Yes. So but yeah, it's I don't know, it's I would love to be that.
Cancel on.
Yeah, I'm a leader at work, like at the studio. Like, I don't go, how we do this? It's like, no, we've got this. Don't worry about this.
Yeah.
And like I said in London, I'd be the same. Like, to the guys, are we going to get that done in 2 hours? And then I'd try and like, the answer is yes, Drew. Okay, thank you. That's it. And then it's giving them confidence. Yeah. I believe you can do it.
Yeah, but you're not saying, like in that example that you give, you're not saying, oh, I don't know. You're saying, yeah, man, it'll work. It will. We'll make it work.
We've got to try and make it work. But yeah.
Like it. So welcome to the B2B Business Club podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So it's just going back to what we were saying, really. It's just shouting about people in Birmingham.
Yeah.
That are doing great things in Birmingham. And you are, or was your adopted, golden child of Digbeth.
Heavy man.
A good friend. A good friend of the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because as we've just discussed now, you don't shout about yourself.
No. I'm Drew Roper. I am the founder and like co-owner of Yamination, which is a production company specialising in animation and stop motion in particular. So we bring like inanimate objects to life, and anything from clay to silicone to foam. We do that, but as a whole, as a company, an award-winning company. We've won awards in like our TV commercials, what we've done, short films and things like that. But as a production company, we can kind of take on any type of challenge. We do live action, we do 2D animation, CG animation, anything that can complement the story and complement the idea and the project of what's there. And as a production company and an indie, it's good to be challenged. And for us, it's like there's nothing that we can't do. And anything that's really difficult to us, it's an exciting, weird thing, but it's an exciting challenge to go, how are we going to solve this problem? So as a production company, it's great because you get thrown around of stuff. Like we're on something at the minute with Diet Coke. It's like a crochet job. And we're like, yeah, right, we can do that. And it's not something we'd have done before for something else, but like most of our model making team, our crew, fabulous like model makers, they do it in their lunch breaks and stuff, and their like break times. You're like, oh, great then, so
during the dark time.
Yeah, it's kind of, but so it's
the soundtrack.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about that actually.
Okay.
But sorry,
that's okay.
But something that's been released, so that's why I've mentioned something. But yeah, so we're an animation studio basically based in Digbeth in Birmingham. Yeah.
So you get those new jobs on, and there's bits that you can take from other jobs that you'd be like, oh, we've done that on Cradendale, or we've done that on At Issue, or we've done that on, which we'll go into the big stuff that you've done. And you'll just be like, okay, then let's take those, what we know, and then the rest will work out. Or
yeah, obviously every day is a school day. I like to have. It's like I think I'm only 38, which I think is quite young to be in a position where I'm running a company with my partner. And we've got, financial advisors and an investor. God rest his soul, he's amazing. It's unbelievable. So bad, like he's died, he hasn't.
I know, yeah.
God bless his soul. But his name's Paul, is unbelievable. Like, been a huge help and saviour, really, for past years. It's been quite difficult in the film sector. But it's good to. Every day I wake up, I'm challenged with stuff, and not like physically or mentally with stuff, but like just with work, creative work. It's nice to feel fulfilled every day when you go to work, because you're like, how are we going to do this? How do we do that? How do we access that top of that client, and how do we access that type of funding to try and do our own stuff or whatever else? Whereas other people's, I feel a bit lucky really, because our job is I'm just fulfilled, but it is very like time consuming and all consuming of your time, and you have to sacrifice a lot. But you can't let that not let you have a life. You have to try and figure out how your life's going to be evolving around that, because animation does take a long time to get it right, to do it properly. Well, so this is the misconception of stop motion, but like to do really good CG animation, it takes longer, and then you've got to wait for it to render, and then and if you haven't quite got the render farms that the Pixars of the world have and everything else, and some of the UK studios like Blue Zoo. They've invested heavily in these render farms. It's like, if you don't have that, it takes a little bit longer. But anything good takes time. That's and it doesn't matter if it's 2D animation. Just might be a bit quicker because of materials or softwares or equipment you need. Whereas in stop motion, what's beautiful is you're getting to bring something from a design physically to life, so you can physically see it. And when you've got that kind of like now, like I love, it's traditional. It's a camera, it's a puppet, it's lights. Nothing will ever change. That what you shoot will stay the exact same of how it's looking like in 20 years' time. So it will never date.
Yeah.
And
getting instant gratification from it. If you're doing it for a couple of hours and you look at it, then it's.
Yeah, you do get a bit doolally.
Yeah.
You're on something. I mean, I don't animate as much anymore. I don't animate anymore. Like, I'm the orchestrator, so kind of me and my partner will bring you as producers and directors. It's like I love directing people because you get to work with talent that I am nowhere near as talented as, and you're like, you're going to make you look amazing. Could you do this, please? And you're like trying to get them out, and you're becoming like your inner thespian is coming out to the animator. Go, I need it like this. It has to perform like this, and like, okay, and they do it. And you're like, oh my god, I could never do that. Like, as much as I was good at drawing, good at making puppets, and good at this, and I had amazing opportunities working on Shaun the Sheep, and I got to work on Fantastic Mr. Fox and Frank and Rini, got Tim Burton and Wes Anderson and stuff, and those early experiences were amazing to be on. And you're working, you're seeing the talent, and you're like, wow. And then you have that imposter syndrome. I'm not that good, and you are, but you're not in your head.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also because you're not been doing it for as long as some of these people, but some people are just so talented. And I guess what I do now is I get to work with these unbelievable people and bring them to the studio and elevate what we do. But it's nice because there's still that level of respect between yourself and that talent, to kind of go, this is what I'd like you to do. Can you do it? But it's all about how you word it. For me, it's communication. It's being a people person, which I think is my background, like who I am, where I'm from. Like, I'm from the back country, Wild West Midlands, as my family used to call it. And it's that honest, hard-working, working class background and upbringing. My granddads were bricklayers and builders and coalmen. My nan's always worked like at a farm, like picking fruits and stuff, and my other nan was like a seamstress, hence why Luke's come into what he's done as well. So we're very creative, but also there's that graft in us, I think. And that's just, my dad's was a plumber, and most of my family, aunties and uncles and like cousins and relatives are like tradesmen. And for me, it's like, I remember being 15, I was sitting in the pub at Christmas, and my granddad, who has a look short of whiskey and a cumbra, a veil. And he remembers sitting with me, he's like, what do you want to be when you grow up, son? And I was like, 15, and he's grown up. And he's like, no. I was like, I want to be an artist. And he got literally clicked me around the back of the head.
Yeah, did you
don't thought nonsense. What is that? You're just like your uncle, who's, but uncle is a fashion designer.
That's telling you want to be a dancer or something.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that still.
What's nothing wrong with that?
Yeah, Pullman.
Pride.
Yeah, Pullman.
Yeah.
But it just said to me, it's like, do you know whatever you do, so never give up. and keep going. And I was like, I'm really emotional side because that's always stuck with me, because it's really difficult with my background to get into what I'm doing now, because there's not much opportunities. I don't know many people in those sectors, and you have to have something within you to keep going, because the doors aren't as open as maybe if you're from that type of ilk and that sort of background. And
it's thick-skinned.
Have to be, yeah. So really what I do now is it's just, I feel lucky to be able to work with this talent, and that's something's happening, that, we've got a business that's doing this and employing people and doing it in our home region. I'm not from Birmingham, I'm from Walsall, and Walsall Wood. It's like a coal mining region, a mining town. And I am an adopted Grummie. I moved here in I've always worked here, clothes shops, like Reese and Limey's back in the day. Remember Limey's?
Right.
Yeah, I worked at Limey's as a Saturday job. Thanks to my uncle and my cousin who works there for years. One of my cousins has always worked in retail. So again, through family, so it's connections, it's family members. It's knowing the UK. It's that's knowing people and just being articulate and communicative with everyone, keeping in touch, being nice, being kind. Yeah. I think it's opportunities naturally lend themselves in certain, areas. But Birmingham's a great place to be. And when I was in Wolverhampton when I first started doing this, I went.
That's the name.
Yeah. So being a yam, I've obviously mixed Yamination, animation.
So he's done that.
Animation. Yeah. So the Midlanders love it. It's a real, when I speak to anyone in our sector or Yamination, you go, fucking great name. You're like, oh. I didn't actually come with it. I can't say it, but so when I worked when I worked in a clothes shop in Reese in the Bullring when I was at uni, so 2006 and 2009.
20 years ago.
Yeah, I was summers, Easter's, Christmases. I was back for a few weeks, and I was earning whatever coin I could save for strands of clothes, because you're working in that. You just become accustomed to where you are. So I was always a really smart kid again. I thought, God, this guy can dress. And I was like, yeah, man, I've got no money, but look how cool I am.
You've got glasses on now,
yeah.
Well, that's still on.
Yeah. I had to look quite scruffy today. It's a worker's jacket.
Yeah.
It's colourful.
Yeah.
And one of the lads that worked there, he's a lovely guy, his name was Jay's there, and he was like, dude, how's all the Yaminations going? And I was like, Yaminations? He went, yeah, Yaminations. And I was like, that's my company name. And that was back in 2006.
Why?
As soon as he said it, it just was I'm not going to say pound signs come up, because you don't really earn as much money yet in this, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, wow, that's a great name for an animation studio, especially because it's got so much link to where I'm from. And I think what's nice is it's showing people that, with the Hollywood, the entertainment sector, the Hollywood feel of what we do, there's still a homegrown feel to it, which I hope will relate to a lot of people, because it is one of the questions I think you might copulate with is, how do people get into it? They want to see people that they can believe in. Why do people love Oasis at the moment? There's so many working class people, so times are hard. They believe in the people that they feel they can relate to more, and it's so. I know it's a bit farcical, but that when I first heard that name, I was like, that's going to stand me in good stead, I think, with the right people. Anybody outside of the Midlands is like, what on earth is that? And they go, Yamination, and I was like, it's okay. You can't be offended that they don't get it. Yeah. People think it's a Brazilian fruit. Which do you like fruit? Yes, look at my belly, I love fruit. And biscuits. So, But, my background's just, it's...
Do you think, right,
good for mine,
you think that with the new things that are happening around here now, that will... This is not a question. It's just fine,
yeah.
Think it will play into your hands of, think they'll embrace you, obviously with blues and stuff. They'll embrace Stephen Knight, been on a lot of the adverts and stuff with the new kit. JK was down here. UB40 have played down here. Are you talking in and around blues around, or have you had communication? Is there something that we can, or even with the film sector and stuff that's?
Do you know? So, I know Stephen.
Yeah.
Not as in. I know him because it's Stephen Knight, and I've been on boards with Stephen. We've had good chats, and I hope he'd remember my face if we saw me. I saw him at the Newcastle game here. Obviously being a massive Blue Nose, you can't help but love what the club are doing, and these people that you go, oh my God, they're Blue Noses as well. You then feel like an instant connection to them.
Yeah.
But years ago, was it Panos? When Panos was the director here, I got chatting to him at a business meeting, and I thought something could happen there. But then nothing materialised. So, and I hadn't really, like, the inner animator of like, I just want to be in a dark room and play with puppets. Like, I don't get out there as much as I should do. And what I'm realising is now we've got an amazing team anyway that we can I can leave that to. Any moment I can get to step out and kind of meet people, I need to do it. So when you kind of call me about this, I was like, I don't know, this would be a lovely opportunity today. Because I haven't done anything for this for an age, but I used to do it all the time because the factory when we first met.
We used to go to that like evenings there, didn't we? I can just see that they would be like, let's get a quirky animation of something. And it's just different, especially with the socials and the content.
Not to kind of spoil it, but we're going to try and do something special for guards. Because he knows we're family relatives of ours, and he's always helped us out to get tickets when we can't get them because of sold out or whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to do something special for him. What can somebody that's, someone of a footballer that's got as much money as they ever need, what can they not buy? So what we can do, we make bespoke things for individuals and organisations and
marketing.
Yeah, marketing. Things that are eye catching and wow, can give you the wow factor. So we're working on something at the moment where we think it might lend itself to be not a side business because it's what we do as our skill sets of like sculpting and making models and whatever, but we think we can maybe do something that might catch on as a kind of like nice little side thing when we're not full-time busy on an advert or something. But as far as putting that out to people, what we need to do is market that. We're in negotiations about getting like a new studio, like a much larger studio premises, which would enable, still in Digbeth, the heart of Digbeth, literally up the road from where we are at the moment, with the same sort of landlords. They've been really good to me, as you've said, as you've kindly put about me being the Prince of Digbeth or whatever it is, or like in Charles.
Yeah.
I don't see it as that. But
I used to walk around you back in the day and you look as a celeb, okay?
Go man, segway, sunglasses on.
Yeah, my cigar.
Yeah, just with an easel.
Speak to my people. No, it's lovely. Well, it's just because I'm chatty and I'll chat to people and if someone wants to have a conversation, because I don't know who they are, I don't know where it might lead. I'll try and treat people the same, whether they're elite to some, or it doesn't matter who they are. If someone wants to have a conversation with you, that means the world, because it's like, wow, they want your time. Nowadays, when you're running companies and you've got ample projects and ample crew, it's like time and being a father of 2, 3, got one on the way. It's like time it's the one thing I could wish for is to have more time. Time is so precious.
Yeah.
So I think when you do give someone that little bit of time, it means a lot to that other person. So yeah, when I was there, it's like, because networking, it's like you've got to get out there. People need to know who you are. The one thing when I go and do talks at universities or like in any type of lecture I ever give, it's like the one thing that I can give advice on for somebody is you might be the most talented person, craftsperson, whatever in the world, but if no one knows who you are because you haven't spoke to anyone, you're just going to be a wasted talent. Not saying I'm talented, but it's like, but I thought the one thing I can do to help maybe stand me in good stead or for people to recognise us over other studios because of our competitiveness is by just putting stuff out. So years ago I was quite prolific at that, but to the point where I wasn't doing much of what I was supposed to be doing, which was maintaining the studio business side of stuff.
What you just alluded to there though is that a lot of creatives are introverts, aren't they? So you just they've got all that and they want to stay in a dark room and do whatever. So
like I'm saying with you now, I'm actually quite nervous doing this because
we're all right now.
I'm okay now, chilled, It's sort of the alcohol just had in the table.
Yeah.
But I'm usually behind the camera because it's my comfort zone. I can control everything.
Yeah.
And in stop motion, live action, so much if you're in a studio, you can control everything anyway. If you're trying to shoot outside, it's different. But in animation, you literally control everything: the sound, the music, the performance, like the dialogue, like the actor. You're like, as much as you give them you're literally just trying to give them like hints of what you want them to do. But then, for me as a director, what I like to do, and it's same with an actor or whether it's with an animator, because as Disney always said, animators are actors with pencils. In my case, they're actors with puppets. It's like the reason why you get them into work is because you want their personality to help bring that character to life.
Yeah.
As much as you've got to keep it uniform and unique for that character, I feel that as a creative, how would I want to, if I was to work in an environment, which I've worked at these feature films and TV series and stuff, and you're like, if I ever get to the opportunity to start my own thing, how would I want it to be run? And you want to feel at ease, you want to feel like people believe in you and support you. And then if you're creative, you want to give them that creativity to go, go on, go off and do this. Obviously within reason, right? There's that.
Yeah.
What does come with that though is you're on set and you look back at what something's been done and you're like, oh, that's not what I was after. That's not exactly the way we're going to go. So but that's only ample time. And the one thing that adds a bit of like okay, and may need to be a bit more clearer with something or whatever else. It hasn't happened often, but when it has, you're like, ugh. But I do like that. But that to me is living on the edge because I don't know what I'm going to get back. I'm not like a director where they're like, I want it this and it has to be this. And it has to hit that beat and it has to do that. I'll be like, it needs to do this at this point and make sure that, but you've got to let that person be creative and be free. Because I think you do get better performance and better work.
I was rewatching the At Issue Behind the Scenes last night. Brilliantly edited, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's bits in that, you know, when you're doing the 2 camera and you come out and you're like, well, you come out and then and then he's with his pants on and then he goes back in and even the stuff with the bird and it needs to be. Yeah. That's good, isn't it? And I think that's invaluable to an animator who's coming in that doesn't necessarily know you, or they get a real feel to what you want. Then you still do that.
Yeah, because what they're known as are like labs, like live action references for the animators. So it helps if you can't always be on set with them, so they've got something else. But actually, if you can give them something that instead of them pestering you throughout the day, they can just have a reference on the screen to kind of look at. And a lot of them then, if you're really clear about it has to do this and it has to do that, they'll literally time it to it. They'll just put it on the same timeline on the animation software. And when they're playing with the puppet, it's like, right, at this point I have to hit that little jerk. And so it gives them that reference. And I think it's becoming, when I did that, I mean, that was over 10 years ago now, which is like bizarre to think. It's like 2000.
That's really well received, isn't it?
Yeah. And we
Sky Arts and all that.
Yeah, Sky Arts for a license, 2-year license for it, and then they renewed it. So it had 4 years on Sky, which was like, as an indie company and a young filmmaker, like it was like a dream come true. But you're kind of like, okay, what's the next thing we're going to do, and what's the and you've got to use that as momentum to go forward. But going back to the live action thing, it's whatever information and detail you can give that performer, because an animator is a performer. I think you're likely to get the best results because they're really getting a tone of what you want as a director, because they're just trying to impress you. On TV commercials and things like that, when you're working with clients and brands, it's like they're not impressing me, they're impressing the people above, like the people that are making the decision for that brand. And so there's a bit of like, you hope that what I'm directing is on level par with what they want, but it's that sense of them, the articulation between the execs versus the people on the floor doing I guess all the creative work really. But yeah, a tissue was like it was a second short I did, third short I did outside of uni. So I left uni in 2009 and went on Fantastic Mr. Fox. But before then I was working on as a junior animator, like model maker. And
how did that happen? So left just happened to drop onto Fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, just as like, do you know who I am? I'm the Prince of Dipper. the future Prince. Again, networking, knowing people. So when I was at uni, I went to Southampton. It was the Arts Institute that got formed into a uni at the time, and so as a uni, it didn't have a great reputation, but for the arts, it was still really quite good. And again, I was known as a puppet boy in like year 1, year 2, for wanting to just play with plasticine and clay. I guess always been inspired by like Wallace and Gromit and stuff, but all my career I've always wanted to do Walt Disney, believe it or not, until like 16 and 19 I had 2D options, like fucking, well, there's my football career gone. And I think going to study something like animation, I had to do a year at Sutton Coldfield College as an art animation course to kind of like, really, because as a kid I was just like the chatty one in class, and we'd always get by because of that a little bit. And then when it comes to like being a sixth form, they're like, so what do you want to do at uni? And I was like, art. And the teachers are laughing at me going, you haven't just said that, have you? And I was like, yeah. They're like, do you know how many forms and mediums and disciplines of art there are? And I was like, have you not been paying any attention? I was like, no.
So a lot painting and that?
Art in it. And so I was a bit like, I was that naive, like genuinely, until I got to do that art foundation course. I just got by, and you get by because I was so active as a kid. I'd be playing football, I'd swam for the county, I had national trials swimming, I had county trials football, paid for the county football team, paid for trials for all these other clubs, and I was always cricket in the summer when there was no football, or I was constantly active as a child, and I think again the good thing about sport, just the bond it builds, the network, you know, and I think that's helped me, especially within an environment now where it's quite intrinsic, and not many people like football, so it's very rare to speak about football at work, but it's having that camaraderie with people and that knowing what to say to someone. And as a young kid being at school, as the football team, I was the captain from day one, from year 7 until year 13. Captain of the swimming team, would actually teach, like instead of me swimming at school, when it was my lesson, I'd have to teach the kid that couldn't swim to help the other two tutors a little bit, so they could spend more time with the kids trying to swim. Because I generally was like so good, because of my mum and dad literally they could see I was good at something and push me. And then I said it to him a few years ago when I had my firstborn. I was like, you know, until you have your first kid and you realise how much support you got from your parents, and you don't realise it because you're a kid. And then when you become a father, you're like, wow, my mum came to every single swimming competition for my work, and my dad came to football. And then when I've got an older brother, and he would go to him, and my mum would be with me, and then my sister, who's 4 years younger, would have to just tag along and try and enjoy the day. And it was a bit like you don't realise how much time they put into you. And so I think knowing that, and knowing that without that sport side of what I do as an art thing, because obviously I knew a lot of people at school that were, again, beautiful artists, but they wanted to keep it as separate to earning money because of how hard it is to earn money doing what we do. But I've always had that belief where it's like my granddad said, just never give up. If you believe in something, keep going. But going on from school, I was always captain of stuff, always a leader of stuff, from like youth team football to like university football and whatever else. And then my knees went, but that kind of leadership has always rang through. And that's why I think as a producer, you're wrangling people together, and then as a director, it's the vision to go, how can I articulate this point properly to make sure that they get it? But I've juggled director-producer for so long. It's like I never wanted to be known as producer because of how the stories you hear of how horrid producers can be, because they're in charge of the budgets, they're in charge of the timescales, so they're in charge of people's happiness, really.
It's one thing that I enjoy doing, produce.
So it's difficult. That's one of the questions I think maybe we like to talk. It's like, people management is hard. Because everyone's different, and you then have to realise, how do I articulate this to make sure I get the best out of that person? But it's about being kind as well. But the thing is, being kind, you can be kind, but you have to still be firm. As a leader.
Very fine line.
It's like being a player coach for a football team, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You've got to distinguish yourself as
so hard.
The player and then be like,
hey, we're friends. Are you going to do that work?
Exactly.
It's like, people have said to me in the past, I'm quite passive aggressive. It's like, well, it's a horrible thing to have on you to go, that was a bit passive aggressive, because you're like, you can do that job now.
yeah, but seriously.
That's it, but
it's
it's
like
like that
the thing
management technique, or you've got, or I'm just aggressive. And no one likes that, especially these days. You can't, the young people now coming into a workplace, can't speak to them the way you spoke to them when you were younger, can you, son? When you've, have you ever been doing a stop motion production? Has anyone ever bumped into the model or not the model?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, either we.
So, well, ironically, so when I didn't say this, I forgot to say, but just in passing, but I got an amazing opportunity to get my first studio, and it's at the Lighthouse Media Centre in Wolverhampton. And thanks to a contact I knew from working in retail, the guy that knew in retail, his wife was, or ex-wife now, was like a head of this arts charity in the arts the Lighthouse, and they've got this great hub of creative talent, and people that have been there and trained at this at Lighthouse, producers, DOPs, cameramen, like lighting people, we all work together still. So there's a core group from Wolverhampton that we love working with each other, and again, you've got that, you get on with each other, the same sort of ilk. But I remember when my first studio was there, it was in this back little office that I'd like, what do you want to do with this room, Drew? And I was like, well, brick everything out, paint it all black. And they were like, what? I was like, that lovely, 18th century window, board that up. I was like, this will become my dungeon. I remember I was working on something. I remember Luke, who's the creative director of Luke Fashion, is my uncle. And I'd just finished uni, and he was like, oh, Drew, we've had this animation done, what do you think? Of like this story of their history of denim. And I was like, yeah, it's good, man. And he was like, I was expecting to go, that's great. And I was like, no, well, it's good. Like, so what do you think you could do better? And I was like, yeah. Stupid then. I'll give you an opportunity. Here's a little bit of money, make something. And I was like, okay. And at that time, I was like, he's a piece, man. Like, just learn this at uni. Easy, my first kind of role. But I'd worked on Fox, and I'd worked on these really big commercials like McDonald's, like loads of great things, like when I was at training, like I was at uni, sleeping on floors because I couldn't afford. You just can't. I can't afford to be in there. I slept in gutters. I slept in bus stops. I thought I was like, because I love music and fashion and stuff, but I thought I was like a rock and roll animator, so I'd get really drunk and I just.
Saturday nights, and
oh mate.
Saturday nights.
But when I was younger, it was even worse because you don't know your limit either.
Mm.
And I'd supposed to be staying at like friends' houses or acquaintances or something. Oh, you speak to so and so, then knowing people, they'll look after you, and then my phone would be dead, I would charge it, I wouldn't be able to afford to have a phone call. Like as a student, I didn't have a pot to piss in. Nothing's really changed. But it's that like, you know, you're living on the edge. And I think it's that when you look at rock and rollers and when you're going, oh, an animator, there's just no comparative. But so when you're drunk, you're like, yeah, go on. I have lived and slept in some really unusual places. I've burnt my bum on like lights that lights up buildings because I've just slept outside of it. Got offered lots of things because I've been like semi-naked because, you know, it's just like I hope my boys don't follow in my footsteps. You know? But working, those things are stories and they're experiences to go, I've come from nothing and I've lived and I'm building my way up to those things. And it's a great story. It's that, where'd you go last night? Well, I ended up here.
Yeah.
Where did you? And then so it's a conversation with somebody, and then, you know, whether it's cool or not, you know, it's not great to speak to execs about that. But some execs that are quite rah-rah actually do like that little bit of grit and that little bit of, these guys might be a bit of a longer. But it's how you, if you do it with a smile, it's kind of okay. Yeah. But working on those kind of productions, it's, I think like in London, yeah, it taught me a lot about how hard it is and how you have to keep up that momentum.
Then was working, I remember you saying, working on the denim one when you started working with Simon it.
Yeah.
The DOP.
Yeah.
I've seen that last night.
So is that...
So was it better? Did you produce the denim one better than the original? I've never heard that story.
No, was it? I would say...
It looked like, wow.
I don't want to disrespect the company that did it before me.
Yeah, we're not going to mention that.
I'm not going to... I forgot who did it. Yeah. But I guess for me that was my first bit of my own work outside of uni where someone's trusted me to do something, and again it's that trusting, okay. And you learn a lot along the way, and I ruffled some feathers along the way, because also what I think something we spoke about briefly, this is like, what do they don't teach you at film school? How to fucking run a business. I didn't go to business school with animation or with film. I went to learn how frames move and the timing of it to be a good animator or like a storyteller. So for me, it's like you're trying to finish a production, but you're trying to do it on time, on a budget you've got. You don't take the piss out of anybody too much, but then also you don't have much money at that time to do stuff because it's a one-man band. It's not like it's going to be a TV commercial, so the budgets aren't high-end. It's a nice thing that a company are trying to afford to do, to be a little bit different to the rest of their competitors, to go with every pair of jeans that get sold, they get a special little DVD or USB, so you can have a look at it if you want to. Whereas nowadays, it's obviously everything's on your phone. You know, when I'm sending, you know, when you look back at that, like everything's so digital nowadays. I remember when I first started out trying to get an opportunity to work anywhere, it was like you send off a DVD to people. Any kid now, I go, what the hell's a DVD? And on it, I'd put like a little Kit Kat in my DVD and have a little note as well, because we all need a break. And I got a response back from pretty much everybody I sent my to. I never got a job. So I was like,
appreciate the Kit Kat.
Yeah. Thanks for the thousands of pounds of spent on Kit Kats. Nestle, please reimburse me. Nestle, if you're watching this, come and have a job with me.
Like dares and the Kit Kats.
But I think
do you employ staff now?
Huh?
Do you employ staff?
Yeah,
to get more freelance?
Employ staff, yeah.
Going back to the whole running of the business, you've still got staff to buy and...
Yeah, it's like, it costs a lot, ridiculous really, no. Like, when you, like, I always say this, and Juliet, my partner, I've always says, oh, don't say that. Like, you know, I've just, when I first started this, I was literally just in my bedroom in my pants trying to do something. And then someone sees something in you, gives you a bit more of an opportunity, and then you show that you can do it, so you excel, and then like, okay. And now to have, where we've come from in the years we have, to have like, you know, the team we've got. A lot of I was thinking about this point today, because the one thing you think about being business is like you employ people, and it's like the scale of your thing makes you successful or not. And it's like, how do you rate success? And I think for us, it's in our sector, and in the film sector, animation sector, like creative industries, it's a freelance world, like it's a freelancer's world. They literally get the opportunity, everything's a short-term contract, and I'll work on a project by project basis with different clients. I think I'm lucky to work with who we work with that are freelancers. But it's nice to know that sometimes you'll get to work with different ones as well. So we always have like a blacklist of who we want to work with first. And I'll get first priority because of who they are, what they do, a good deal, whatever. And if they can't do it, I love that then as well, because as much as I love working with that person, you get an opportunity then to work someone new. And I love that because it's another person to me, and it's somebody else to talk to somebody about, and they might know someone you know, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, so it's a bit, I love that. But there's 4 of us employees, and then we've got like 2, I'd say like permanences that they're in a lot. I probably should employ them.
If I had Jamal say,
no, it's okay. It's the sector. We are trying to get some government grants soon, so we might have to start actually putting to expand the studio, because we're at that, like you said earlier, we're at that point where we need to expand the studio. We outgrown where we are now. We outgrew that space as soon as we moved in, but we moved in to try and utilise the money we had to put into our own IP. So we've got like loads of catalogue of projects now that we can try and sell to different streamers or broadcasters, whatever else. But now we kind of need to move to a bigger space, A, to fulfill that, but also to work on bigger productions, because we didn't grow with that move that we did 3 years ago. We kind of stayed at the same. We had to leave because the building got sold to a film school, ironically. But it's like we've got housing space, it's been great, but we just need to move forward with it. But I think, and going to that then, it's like the overheads and stuff, you still have to pay people, and it's like, there's a bit where you're battling with like another person to work with, just becomes a bit more of a... But when before 2020, it was just me and an assistant. And I did all of this stuff. I worked with all these amazing clients, and the perception of business is you're bigger than what you are. We'd get students that come to the studio and go, "Oh, this is it," and you'd be like, "Cute." And you get people that are experienced and professionals that go, "Fuck, man, what space? How do you get this on your own?" And you're like,
"Let's find out."
Shouldn't have done that, but yeah, it's like, how do you, and so it's that thing of perception with stuff, and it's again educating the youngsters to go how hard it is, but they soon realise. But it's also businesses like, it's the work that should stand out, not us, really. And you're only as good as the last piece of work. Like massive, like no matter how high the budget. So we've had some really great projects. We've got budgets out. It's the budget isn't an option. It's just the deadline of whatever else and articulation or whatever else. And we've had budgets that we've done on an absolute shoestring for something, but there are limitations of that. And what's nice for that, you get creative, but also everybody else has to understand the limitations with those, kind of, I guess, parameters that you're set. But it should have the same impact as your last piece of work. And if you haven't done that, I don't think you've done a good job. And that's kind of, for me, there's that pressure, like kind of, it does keep you awake at night. I'm not going to lie, like it is. I'm not the 4 a.m. boy. Like if I've got something on a bit, like, I'll wake up at 4 a.m. I'm like, oh, and then I'm all right, and then you're okay, then you settle that down. But you learn to deal with those kind of business stresses.
What's been your most favourite job you've ever worked on?
I was thinking about that. I don't think there is one. Nah, because they're all as unique as one another. I know it's really cliche and it's really probably crap.
That one was really good, wasn't it?
So I was in the car.
I remember speaking to you, you were like, this was...
I was in the car outside of St Andrews, listening to Mr. Blue Sky, getting pumped up for this podcast.
Yeah. And
that question in my head popped up and was like, what's the one? And I think that was the first big job that the studio would be affiliated with. Because we can do that job, we helped with that job, we built several, again, because of people I know and work with, I'm like, you're amazing at the art department, can you do this? And then because of that person being with us, same as Jossel, we then got a load more art department work. Then obviously while he was focused on the build of it, and I wasn't needed as much, I could figure out like the marketing side of stuff and the PR stuff, and then the next job, speaking to who I've got to speak to, helping him then run that bit. So you're kind of learning on the job as you're doing it all. But like that job for us was, I think it was such a massive project to be a part of, because of like I still speak. So we get work experience. The one thing I want to do as one of our goals, or for the word now, yes, like a goal or an incentive as a studio. We always try and have our doors open for work experience, because when I was a kid growing up, there was nothing like this on my doorstep, and I want to make it open to everyone who wants an opportunity to come in and work. And obviously it's difficult to navigate that all the time, but we try each year to have a couple of work placements. And when we first started it was just people we knew, But now it's the people who don't, and it's, and there's proper health and safety measures in place. And, when I was first started, I was like, yeah, I've got a, what are they called? Fire risk assessment thing. That's that.
Watch them wires over there.
Yeah, just don't do that.
Yeah, that light, if you press it, and it will electrocute you.
Just put some goggles on me doing that. And it is these risk assessments and stuff, and it's like, it is, again,
it's going to be proper.
Never knew anything like that when I first started. So when I was at the Custard Factory or the Lighthouse, I was always under like a huge organisation or in a building anyway that was surrounded by. You didn't really need that as much. When you start getting your own studio and everything else, it's like, okay, things have to be a bit serious. And you're working with these clients, and they almost expect you to be of a certain ilk.
Liability insurance.
Yeah. So that all goes up. You're like, oh god, this is costing me a fortune. But then you get the bigger working, so it's kind of that.
You've jumped forward there, as in what's the future. So it makes it a bit more viable for people. Like the running joke is the careers advice that they give you at school and stuff. But you want to make it more viable for kids, don't you? For people, Midlands, especially a lot of the Midlands and stuff.
I think like anybody you speak to that's kind of an owner of a company or runs a company or whatever else, it's like if they could give their time to go and help talk at someone's unit, and if one person is inspired, it means the world to that person to go, okay, I've acknowledged something then that they never thought they would ever see. So that, I always like being asked to go and do talks at schools, because as a homegrown lad, and even if it's not homegrown at whatever school anyway, it's like up and down the country, it's nice to just go and do that. But again, obviously when you're in the company, you don't have the time. It's really hard, because obviously you have to weigh up what that's, personally it's doing a lot for you, but actually as a business, it's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's quite a fun thing to go and speak to.
It's amazing
as well, isn't it?
It's the same with universities, like going to do a talk at uni where these people are ready to step out into the world you're in, and you want to do, but again, the money's not great for you to do, considering what you should be earning on a project and where you want to make. The business has to be in a good place first.
Yeah.
But for us, that there's always that ethos where if we can help someone, because without support, I wouldn't be where we are today. No way. And I'm not saying it's financial support, but it's that shoulder to cry on, it's that rub, it's that food when we've not had any money for anything. When I first started out, I had nothing. But mum and dad would go and do divorce, so you're in a world of like, whoa, how do I when you've got this ambition, and it doesn't really matter. You're just on your own trajectory, and you're like, I'm going to do it.
If you're going to unis as well and telling them you've worked with Warner Brewers and Hardman and this, that, and the other, and you're from Walsall, and you're like, oh, it's just me, kind of thing. They're like, all right, it's inspiring, isn't it? Oh, I think
it is. I hope so. But some of them, if you, like I said, I think if you appeal to one person, it makes it so much more like enjoyable and memorable for you. But it's not about you; it's about them. Obviously, it's them, just to give them an idea of what it could be like for them. But a lot of the kids, from like state schools in particular as well, they don't know what options they've got.
This is what Cole Chin was saying when he come in to.
Oh, what a hero! I actually saw him on Saturday walking through town, and I was like, "Carl," he gave me the biggest hug, and he's like, it's just such a genuine man. Like, he's so helpful, so supportive.
Feel like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I will forget that.
I'm with him.
He
come down there and sat in there, and he was just like, the stories and
do the same like the glass ceiling, the glass ceiling, even with trying to do things and finding that you can't, not even as a racist thing or a sexist thing, that there is an unspoken glass ceiling that exists in certain industries.
Yeah. I think that's another conversation I think to go into, and I think there are local people that have made documentaries about that, which haven't really been aired. I wonder why. I totally agree with that, but again, like anything, you have to always leave some go with it and just go, that's what I'm facing. There's other people facing.
You find there's a bit of a London bias in your industry?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think other regions help themselves. It's always, they always compare themselves to London.
Yeah.
And nobody should. London is beautiful. It's a wonderful place. It's amazing. I love visiting. I love working and doing your bit and bobs. And I've lived there. I've worked there. And it's still great. And I've got whatever experience I can for it. But also, it's so busy. It's so busy. And I think what's nice about being back home in your home territory or home region is you become a big fish in a smaller pond and you become more known. Now, whether that compares to London is a different scenario, but they still know who you are and still know what you're doing. And you still ruffle feathers by getting other work from people that are trying to get that. We're up against armour a lot of the time when we go to jobs now. It's like, wow, what a crowd feeling that is. But, 9 times out of 10, you don't get it because, they thought maybe a lot more time and effort and longer needs to try and get pitch than what we could afford, maybe. But
sorry, I'm mad at that then. So you grow up watching Aardman and think, this is where I want to go. And now you're
working out as well. I was like,
So now you try and go toe to toe and disrupt them because you want to share the pie. And
How far are you away from Aardman in regards to?
I mean, any central business, but it's so close. But realistically, Aardman are the pioneers of British animation that are currently operating. The ones before Cosgrove Hall, who sadly aren't existing anymore. And then it was Aardman that really just elevated the animation scene for the UK. And it's over the past probably 10 years I've really started to get everyone in the animation sector really likes them. The UK loves them because of mostly drum machines and things, but overseas they haven't done as well as I think they maybe ought to have done or could have done. Because also they were never like back to back with features and features and features like all the prolific studios of like Pixar, DreamWorks, Blue Sky who are no longer, Leica now in the States, so who do stop motion. So they've always got a feature. Aardman are now doing that, and it's brilliant to see because there's like all these talent in Bristol that are constantly employed. But I remember like being on Show Machine, and everyone's like, I'm out of work tomorrow for another 6 months because they're waiting for the next things that come in. So it's great because as the British pioneers, it's taken them time, and they've done it without investment. They've done it without like selling their souls to the larger studios. They are, and they're dragging on it bigger and bigger. And every time I turn on a newsletter, they're doing something new. It's really.
Well, the last film's critically acclaimed.
Absolutely. Partly so.
Relentless Penguin. So it's like an internationally famous film, isn't that, isn't it? So
I reckon my eldest, who's 5, he gets scared at the original, like the wrong trousers somehow, because of Penguin, because he's so villainous. And then the new one, he loves it. So it's a bit like, I've been many, obviously a few years younger, but Armin and like you say, so to be in a position where we're, on projects and we're 1 of 3 or 1 of 4, to be, maybe get some work with them is great. And we're also, as a studio and an indie, we support other larger production companies that,
you have to do that white label kind of thing. You have to all wear your t-shirts all coming out.
But without that, you
And a lot of his NDAs, isn't it?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of stuff I can't, I do share when we're allowed to. But at the time when you're working on stuff, it's like, I'd love to do this. And
is there anything NDAs have lapsed on recently? You can.
Yeah. So there's something massive that we're going to start getting out soon. There was something huge that came out on the 1st of July on Tuesday. So LT London, ironically, working on this Diet Coke event thing that we're doing, like I said, and I got a text message from a friend that works at Mina Lima. Now Mina Lima are the design house behind Harry Potter, and Mirafor Mina and Eduardo Lima, like they're the two, who it's after, like they're the two pioneers, the designers that have carried that company through. And we met we were very fortunate, like Juliet behind us, like huge Harry Potter fan. Well, I love Harry Potter, but she's an avid fan. They were doing a talk at Birmingham Design Festival years ago, and they came up at the big giant screen, did a talk, Mina Lima, and Juliet's just like, blown away. And then there was an opportunity to go for a pint and a pizza at Digbrew, which is no longer happening in Digbrew afterwards. So as we were leaving, not hung around like kind of vultures, but you're like, oh, there they are. And Eduardo had gone, but Mirafor was still there. And so we kind of, like anything I've done, any job, it's personality, it's sincerity, it's genuineness, authenticity. That's kind of, I guess it's that thing with like Carl. It's like, if I can get any of that from him, gosh, right, I feel like I've done well. But we just got, we were walking, are you going to the pizza? She's like, yeah, here we are. And the barber's there, and then I'm there, his name's James. It's like, right, I'm James, I love Drew, what do you do? Because I'm a set builder at Pinewood. And I was like, oh, cha-ching. And then we just fanboyed it off, and I was like, wow, what have you worked so much on? And then explained what we did. Juliet was speaking to Mirafor. We were there till 3 a.m. And you get to, and it's not, I'm not saying we were last really come out of drinks were flowing. But,
in the big area.
Yeah, that's where I ended up doing it. Thanks Mirafor. But it was that thing where you just connect with people that you admire what they do, you're massive fans of what they do, but they are just, and it's not to take anything from them, they're just people who are so talented doing what they're doing. And then we built that friendship over the years, and a few years ago they came to us and said, we're thinking of elevating our beautiful world of our books and illustrations that we're doing and bringing them to life. Is this something be able to do with us. And I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, that'd be unbelievable. So all of these pals, all of these like fairy tale books, and they've got all these classic books, Peter Pan, Little Mermaid. They've made their own beautiful, elegantly illustrated books that are just one-off genuine pieces of art. And they want it all them to come together in a story to kind of be told. And I thought, well, it's got to open on an old school stop motion fairy tale, really harshly lit book that it opens up naturally like an old Disney film. You come in and then you zoom into the book and then it turns into this beautiful 2D because their so stylistic, like aesthetic is very 2D. It's very flat. It's very like almost like pin orientated. So you try to keep that feel, but to do it on a, with the time frame you had and the budget you had, it's like, it was wicked to work on because we've just got to elevate what digital can do. What I like to do in my direction is try and utilise all technologies and all mediums. So in tissue there was stop motion, 2D, CG. In this, there's CG, there's 2D, there's stop motion. It's all of that utilising what tells a great story, but it's beautifully unique. To have their visuals to work from anyway, and they were designing stuff specifically for us to then go, well, we'll take those Photoshop frames and build that in to make the movie. It's like, it's a dream, again, that's a dream come true project. Because they're through each week and do it for, and that was released after 2 years on Tuesday. So we got to share some of that. And there'll be a few more bits where I hope we get to talk a few more bits of what we've worked on with them. But it's up a 2-minute film just sitting there like waiting to
I suppose that's what hard with it. It is real old. We've absolutely grafted on this, and then we can't talk about it until whatever. And
I kept seeing Tom Curry, from iTunes. iTunes.
Yeah.
And he's like, when are we going to do an interview? And I was like, oh, I can't talk about anything.
Yeah.
So he's going to hang over this now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom. But
yes.
It's that thing. It's that thing of like this.
Yeah.
You don't know because you have to.
But does that get you loads of business and obviously the content and what you share now? You'll be like, that will bring in directly business.
I hope so. Yeah. Because also what shows for the studio is like I said when I first introduced what we do. We're a production company that specialises in animation because that's what we do. We do all forms, but what we're known for is stop motion. So what this film beautifully, I hope, articulates is that we can do it all under one roof.
Yeah.
A lot of clients want that because it's less hassle of having to wait on other people to do
No free solution.
Yeah, just leave that to me, and do you get Marty? It's kind of like, right, that's what we can do. So
one point of contact, one vision, one conversation with Juliet or whoever, and usually can delegate to the
absolutely. Then
departments.
Other jobs we've done where we've built just specifically puppets or something, or we've built sets for something to complement somebody else's work, and also to share the workload because of how on TV commercials you get no time. It's so even if you threw loads of people at it, because still things take long, you still won't get it over if you did everything. So other people need to be working on other stuff at the same sort of time. So it's nice to be able to help work on so many TV commercials as a service. But what's nice about me and Aline thing, it's like, heavily executive and directed by them as well as me, got in charge of the direction, working with the directors of the Harry Potter films, as in like the designers. Anything you see designed, anything like it's them. It's just, so it is a pinch ready dog. I did put some on LinkedIn about Picture Me. It was, and now we get to talk about it. I hope we're going to try and see if we can get, I think, a bit more PR about it, but we need to kind of confer with guys will be in. But also the fact it's with friends, it's a relationship that was built out of nothing, not for any gain. Like, I've been on here, so work with them.
I'll pretend I'm someone not.
I think that's what I dislike about pitching projects and going to like conferences, because you're after something, and the people that you're pitching to know it as well, and that to me is a lack of authenticity.
That's what LinkedIn in a nutshell, isn't it?
And that's the scene, like our kind of co-producer Michael Ford, who's like a it's a good lad. Again, local boy from Wensbury, Wensbury. Oh no,
Off the Flush.
Yeah. We met again and we'll go to the Bright House and stuff. And again, it's that thing of Michael's amazing at fixing stuff, and he also knows that he will share stuff on LinkedIn and be proud of it, and that's right, and the way I should be. But I always cringe whenever I post anything. I can't help but cringe. I don't know why. And is that a Birmingham thing? Is that a Midlands thing?
That's a Midlands thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is it a British thing? Yes. Compared to other nations. Yeah. But I do think in the Midlands we are. But then saying that Michael's not like that, he's brilliant. And, that duo for us has been brilliant to date. So, but it's that thing of we need to show more, and that's the one thing I realised is we're very lucky because all of our workers can put word of mouth, and it's come from this genuine. They're really nice. They really do good stuff. Let's try and just do something with them.
That's the overall. When we do this, when we talk about business, the overriding theme seems to be that people deal with people, don't they?
Yeah.
People need a lot of people. You can buy something from person A who you don't like, buy something from person B. You'll always go to the person you like.
Yeah. If it's a bit more expensive or a bit more whatever or a bit further away.
Yeah.
You'd go
That's it. Then price isn't necessarily the issue, is it? You can still be more expensive with someone else, but your personality and your business and your product shines through, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think the thing with the cost though is you know.
So it's different with yours. This is the budget anyway, so.
Yeah, it depends on who it's with. Like if we're pitching for something, it's kind of, we know the figure. But when we're doing it and we're supporting as a service house for another great production company that are doing some numbers, and the bigger production companies have recognised a great talent for our directors. That we did something last year in Nexus and we released in October for the Guinness commercial. We did like the Dancing Candies to promote their Nitro Surge head. I mean, literally, the director that's called Johnny Kelly, he's just a dream to work with. Because the director, he's so calm, he's so cool, he's funny, witty, he's so nice. But never, he's just like, yeah, it's great, keep going. It's like, great. So it's not great.
Tell us some of the directors that are real assholes.
No, just.
God, I thought completely the face. You said that.
Yamination editor anywhere. I thought to say that's not. I've never really experienced that.
So I really like the synergy between.
And I'm not just saying it because I'm tip camera.
Yeah, we're gonna edit these names up there.
AI.
Yeah.
Use his voice.
So I really like the synergy between animation, kids animation, fantasy, and horror, and animation with an edge for kids. So instead we worked on Frankenweenie.
Yeah.
Like Tim Burton, pretty much everything he's done in regard to Not There Before Christmas. It's all edgy, isn't it? It's all, you show it to your kids. Sometimes it scares them, sometimes it doesn't.
Yes.
And then it's like a nice gateway into horror for kids, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think stop motion suits that.
Yeah.
Because there's that tactile stuff. You can kind of see where fingerprints have been. It's not as clean with what we've done before as what CGI is. So when he made The Corpse Bride, that was all really smooth and flawless. And people thought it was CG back in 2005. And it almost got like slated for it because it didn't have that as such an authentic charm as what stop motion studio to be. But the thing is, like Leica proving it in the States as well, like an Aardman, of course. Yes, they're utilising the medium where it's like you can get something different that CG struggles to do. I say maybe not struggles anymore. Because of how much that's just improved as the years go on. But it doesn't have the nostalgia and that charm as what a stop motion thing would have. And I think many people we spoke to competencies and it's like, oh yeah, stop motion, but it's a bit, I want it to be stop motion me. And you're like, what does that mean? And it means I want it to be a bit jerky and whatever, but that to me is what that, the imperfections are beautiful and I think they can be embraced and they have been embraced in stop motion, but that is an imperfection that's been stigmatized as being stop motion when it isn't. It's just limitations of whatever else and projects had or what the vision of the director is like, that's what I want, but you can create flawless stuff in stop motion.
I think CGI is going to be the death of stop motion.
No, that's all.
Is there a hardcore of for and against kind of?
Because I said that with 2D, like when CG came out, 2D's dead. Not at all. 2D's had a huge resurgence. Stop motion has steadily discontinued. It is it has a specific look, but like if you've seen, like for instance, like there's the women's Euros now. There's the BBC Sport have done it's all claymation stuff. Didn't get it's working out second, but it's all claymation and it's just beautiful and it's really funny and it's quirky and it's really dynamic. The camera angles, the views. So to say that that's suited for a 2D animation or CG animation, which is where you put camera, is utter nonsense. I guess it's just director preference, and I think stop motion is wherever, like I said earlier, like when you look at something, you make something because it's authentically captured, it's real. It will never daze. It will just look exactly how you shot it. The one thing that does daze it is the cameras you've maybe shot it on. So if you're shooting on old cameras, and it's like 4:3 version, and it's a bit like it's a video camera. It's not as sharp as it is nowadays, but when they used to shoot on film, they can, again with film, you can digitalize it. It's beautifully crisp. It's incredible. So I don't think I'm not even with AI. Like I'm not.
That was one minus.
Yeah, I do shit myself. AI is
creative.
Whoa.
The right accelerator, the technology accelerator, such a rise, isn't it? The stuff you were looking at last year, and you go, oh, look at the fingers, look at this, look at that. And they're putting stuff out now. Yeah. There was something the other day, Michael Madsen, tribute AI, where they tied him in all his different roles. Obviously, he passed away the other day, didn't he? So they tied in all his different roles, and it's so smooth. 1 minute is his Reservoir Dogs character, turns around, he becomes his Free Willy character. Yeah. You know, they did stuff like that a year ago, and it looked something like, but now, look how smooth.
Yeah, it's
CGI.
It's incredible scale. CGI is the same. So I think that's the one thing. I think a lot of creatives and artists are really scared, rightly so.
You are embracing.
We are at the best of times. I think artists and all that. There's always a hesitance because it's like you always feel like an imposter. So it's kind of there's that kind of anxiety that kind of naturally is as a creative, like you kind of have that in you because you care as well. So you want it to be right and whatever else. But I think we have to use AI as a tool. And we're trying to, we get pictures from agencies and other groups and groups go, this is the deck of what we want to try and track for this TV advert or for this promo or whatever, and okay. And it's been hours, and you're like, okay, but then that's great because it just shows them a vision of what they can expect straight away. Yeah. Sadly, artists may have lost the work to do concept art straight away. Yeah. But then with that work, it's obviously at the minute, it's not, you have to then take that as a design and go, well, that's what I've got to work from. Now I need to fully build something. Yeah. So there's always, and again, that's where it's used as a tool to help explain it to people that maybe aren't as creative, who are in exec positions that are heads of business.
Yeah, across there, doing the whole double jerk and all that, but they're not that person.
I think they're kind of undermining a CEO of a company. They're not they're 9 times out of 10 not creatives. So they want to literally, without telling us okay, because you have to literally, they want to see what it is before they commit. So I think AI is helping with that. For us as a company now, doing what we do, it's like how can it utilise this as a tool? Like everything that we've used, it's like how can it help us go forward? So 3D printing is one. Yeah. 3D printing, but that would take over from modern makers. Not at all. It's just complemented it. There are still pros and cons to doing traditional clay sculpts and silicon and resin moulds traditionally, and fiberglass moulds compared to a 3D print. And there's ways of doing that traditionally to get a certain mold to go, if we do it that way, it has to print hard. And then to get something like that's at the end of it is a cast that's rubber, that's silicon, that's soft, I don't have to reprint it or remold it anyway. Mm-hmm. So there's pros and cons to both, but I think it gives you something quick to look at straight away. And yeah, we've just done a load of it for this job, this architect job, like load of 3D printing stuff for that. And everything we do now has got some form of 3D printing in. AI itself, I think it's like Photoshop. Like if you look at the lassos or the magic wand tool, years ago, people would have had to cut around that individually, taking them hours, if not days. Whereas now they go, this magic wand. So AI is it's
making it accessible for less skilled people.
Absolutely. So people have still got jobs, but it's taken them less time to do it, which is great for everybody. Yes, whether they earn a lot of money, but then maybe they can charge a bit more to know they can do it in a smaller time frame. So that's the one thing. All the communities of people, like again, I'm trying to speak to like different heads of studios about how are you guys utilising AI, and what are your kind of what's your values? That's what I was looking for. That word value. Mm-hmm. Value is like what's your values on like AI? It's trying to see what other people are doing, and I think they are trying to embrace it, but without it taking over. Yeah, they're trying to help complement what they've done. It's predominantly pitch phase to get something a bit quicker out, but also I remember there's so many different platforms now about it over. I'm like, I don't even know. Generally what I knew, but the one thing that I always feel when you work on high-end projects, especially TV commercials where you're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds for an advert, if not millions, it's like if something's been done with full AI, who owns that? There's still a massive.
That's the argument with artists and stuff.
There's no cloud.
Black Mirror, so isn't it? The Netflix sort of down the line.
Yeah. Just to wrap it up there.
Okay. Okay. That was quick. Well, that's what really fast.
Yeah, that's not fast. It's marketed on for part 2 once you've got all the NDAs out there and stuff like that. So what's in the short term? Yeah. What's the short term? What's the long term? You mentioned about long term vision would be statue of you in the birth or No, you mentioned that, but that's what I'm thinking.
Plan statue.
Yeah. What's in the short term?
Wouldn't that be great having a statue and stuff?
If Eagles were still there, then it would be you. And remember
Someone else face it, and then you end up with something.
that face on the thing.
What a hero he is. We're still really close to
that.
that. Dave, who consulted us actually on some property,
Nice.
where to go property-wise, because if you
Getting on face on the
they did him real at the custard factory, and he had a coffee and a cigarette in his hand, because he used to always roll in the custard factory, coffee and a cigarette. He was like Mr. Suave, wasn't he? Still is, Mr. Suave.
Yeah.
When we're working, we're currently working with our build at the moment to talk about new premises. And he loves Dave, and it's like, and we had the builder's architect team who's recommended us to, Ash, a lovely guy. So we kind of had him, we brought him to the space, and Dave walked in, and I was just like in awe of Dave, like, Dave Briegels is in. Because he's just like,
Dave, Andrew.
Dave, what's going on? Like, the staff, man, they just, it's fun doing it.
What about
Dave is lovely, yeah. So I think for us, it's, long term, yeah, statue, of course. I mean, everyone wants that, don't they? To be defaced by somebody. But I think, short term, generally, it's been really tough. You know, without our saint like Paul, who's been our investor, it's been quite hard at times when things have been a lot quieter as of recent years. It's generally keeping a lot. I turn on an email and newsletter every Monday. They're like, well,
Is the tender side? Do you use tender side swap rate construction so we can register and be creative tender sides, and then you never win them because again the bigger companies are in.
I've never done it. We've always relied on word of mouth, which is not really a testament for the studio, which is really, we're really blessed like that. But then I was chatting to my DOP side the other day, because he's, every time we go for a project, they're like, the director, if it's not us, it's like, or even it is us, through who's your DOP, like Side Roofer, what's he done? Well, everything kind of we have, pretty much. Bar a few of us that we look into what we do, like X-Iron and still Arnold. But they're all freelancers, like I say, they're all free, you can't really afford to employ a cameraman full time because of what they get freelancing. But it's you work with different people, and you kind of you want to build just against that level of success. And I was saying to Sile the other day how do we become more available to more people, and he's like, for the first time in years, this goes back down to saying, look, I can't tell who's your DOP, what work you done. I just showed him this clip part, and he's like, so now he's spent time building himself a website, building himself a show reel. Now, we've always had a show, we've always had a website, but it takes some time to get there, and it's very costly if you go to the company. We can do it in-house, so we're doing it as and when we can. But it's having all of those credentials behind you. So he was saying, we as a creative now, because of the market maybe changing AI slightly, because of things are becoming a bit more fast-paced, there's still a lot of work out there, but it's knowing how to get that type of work. We have to really think about now is utilising our websites more and different areas of marketing as a short term, I think.
Just about this is that.
Yeah, because we've had people come to the studio who've worked for years, and they're like, I didn't know you did this. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. One of our artists was sculpting with down, a massive digital scene sequence. Like, you did digital sculpting? I was like, no, I've been for 10 years, since. What about the World Boss who've done? I can't show. So it's a bit like that's.
It's not taking you back to before you. That was what you do, just like art, art stuff.
But the thing is, what I've learned now is, I need to go back to the Drew of everyone needs to know what we're doing, and that cringe element of it's cringe to the people that you're working with in the sector. But at the end of the day, they are going to get to work, and that's great. But I need to prioritise and who's going to keep the business going, and the new clients and the continued clients, because they're going to say that you're busy because it's you become more acquirable. I mean, we are busy. We've got several things bubbling away, which
you can't talk about them, and so it's like, we're really busy on what.
But they're really big. But there's a reason why we moved into a bigger studio, because of these bigger projects we've got coming.
Yeah.
We are. I can't confirm the studio move yet, but that is bubbling away. So that's a short-term thing that will happen hopefully this year, come the end of the year. I'm going to have that larger space, which is more than 3 times what we've got already. So it's a great space to be in as a HQ.
Yeah.
Long term.
Shout about that, haven't you?
Yeah.
This is
long term. This week, I've actually got a writer coming up tomorrow night to stay with us. Again, any kind of artist, like animator, camera person, model maker, if they're not from the region, I'm trying to get to know them, because I want to, they just come and stay with us in the Jewelry Quarter. And as much as yes, I don't have to put up in a hotel. It might be our pretty cheapskate, but it's not that. It's I want to get to know that person. We go through their sales stage. They see what it's like to be Drew and Juliet at home as well as the studio.
Yeah.
So you create that. We call it the Yam fam, and we've got that like Yamination family. It's like you work with people that you want to grow with, and so we've got a writer called James coming up tomorrow, and we're developing a feature film based on my hometown of Waterwood. Undisclosed title because I might change it, but it's about creating like a story of like the goblins, a pit in Waterwood called the Goblins Pit. So probably giving away like far too much, but we're developing a speech film. We're going around the Midlands as of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
To principal for soccer.
To like, well, it's just to go and show James where I'm from, why I'm inspired by what stories I've got to tell and why. Show them like the Cannock Chases, show them my hometown, show them the Black Country History Museum, show all these things that have helped build. Exactly, helped build me and how helped shape me and why I'm thinking of what we're doing. Because he's going to write this hopefully masterpiece. Yeah. And we've applied for a few opportunities about trying to get that further and stuff. So I'd love to have a feature film under my belt. We're still negotiating, still trying to put TV series projects out. We've got a few developments that are still ongoing. And those are huge. We've got great names attached to those. But again, because they're at stage, you can't. It's a bit weird to discuss. But yeah, so it's to try and work on. It's to continue working, right? Yeah. That's the main thing. Yeah. And continue to please people, for sure. And I hope that people get inspired by what we do. But for us, it's like, it would be a dream to like do something on a huge scale. And almost emulate what the city's trying to do. Is do bigger things, because I think it will help. Again, look, it's another string to the city's bow that there's a company trying to do this huge, this another huge. And like Stephen's doing it with this film studio. Why can't it be animation as well? So it's a big ambition. I'm
excited.
Yeah, no,
I'm excited.
Well, it's weird because there's that inner yearning. It's like, oh my god, but it's such a long road. Like if you speak to anyone who's had a long form animation project, whether it's a TV show or it's a feature film, they're like, from start to finish, or start to production, from like the idea to start, it's like 7 years.
Why? I was going to say, what would like a 90-minute feature run you in regards to production?
Well, I think so. To get the idea into a position where it's been green to go, it's a majority of people say 5 to 7 years just to get it into position, and then you have to make it so there's 3 years. So
you can see why Artman stuff took so long.
Yeah, and it's see like the last John Lasseter, Pixar, and all these these guys that made feature films, and Nick Park, Artman, and Wes Anderson. They're making there's so much time and thought gone into these animations because they take so long. And I'm not saying there's not that goes into live action, but you can churn out live action a lot easier or a lot quicker than you can do animation.
Sound right, yeah.
So if you want to make prolific stuff, then do live action. But if you want to make the beautiful thing about animation, maybe stop motion. But I mean, you would even see Ghibli, with a Pixar, so Fox said, if it's a great story, it will always live long in people's minds. So this year, 2025, 30 years since Toy Story was released. 30 years.
Oh, fine.
But if you watch the first Toy Story, you never go, God, look at those graphics. Because it captures your grip by the story. So it's just as long as the story's there, really. But again,
it's in Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah.
Took my son to watch that cinema. I thought it was a kids' film.
Yeah.
Sat in there, Marcus Isabella. It's full on, isn't it?
So that's
great film.
That's who are doing. So that's who did like Coraline. Coraline. They did
classic.
Paranormal, which is one of my favourite movies.
Yeah, Paranormal. Yeah,
it's left there, and they've got another film out now. I think it's 5 years in making already. Called Wildwood. And one of my closest friends is one of the riggers on that job, and he helped me set up Yamination at the Crystal Factory. So I met him on Shaun the Sheep as a rigger, and then he was out of work for a bit. His name's Chris. Remember Chris Goff?
I think so, yeah.
Like, love him to bits, look at that. So, suit genius, like a genius. And you're like, well, Chris, I've got this short film, got a tissue, I'm trying to make it. Do you know how we do? He said, yeah, man, I'll come to Birmingham. So from Manchester originally, came to Birmingham, fell in love with the city. So he came back recently for like a sabbatical, just to kind of, have some time off work. Wanted to stay as long as he's been in Birmingham because just loves it. Just a great place. And I think what's nice is that energy of what the city's doing as well as what we're trying to do creatively. But he's out like putting it, and he's been there for long, and he worked on Kubo and loads of Brits are over at Leica, because again, like stop motion is it's very British. It's
because you can feel that in the film. Yeah. Even though you look at it, it's like, it's a Hollywood, watch it, cinema. It feels like it's got like a British heart.
Yeah, man. It is so British. It's like super British. And but also, not to say the Americans aren't, they're amazing as well. But like I think that, again, it's a unity of people, which I think a lot of their stuff with the stop motion community is kind of like, they do so much CG, it's so much post heavy. There's so much green screen, and so you do lose a little bit of authenticity. It looks quite sharp and crisper, but you're kind of like, that's their niche. That's what they've got, and I've got an audience. So and that's the thing now that we're facing is, what audience do we want to tell stories to? More, we've had like preschool projects that you look at certain preschool projects and they get cast as preschool, but they're upper preschool. What's the difference between upper and preschool? And you're like, well, preschool's much more calm. That should be on in either early morning or at the end of the day to kind of calm.
No, the lots.
Upper preschool is like the fast-paced stuff that's still light-hearted and fun and slapsticky, but so it's trying to balance even at the children, like who's your audience, and you're talking like brackets of windows and age groups like that. So it's a difficult. Everything's evolving and always changing. So I hope that we can still do that as it goes on.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
No worries.
I'm excited to see you all.
Yeah, thanks.
Fun top that.
Hang on, before we go, one last question then.
Yeah.
Top 3 anime films.
Oh,
What questions end it with?
paranormal.
It's paranormal.
Number one, I love Pinocchio. The first Pinocchio.
Sinister. The way the social media took those early Disney films and interpreted what they mean. So that Pinocchio now is XD's Island, isn't it? With the take the kids.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Whoa.
Have you not seen this? The reinterpretation of the early Disney films.
There's always someone trying to shoehorn something fantastical into something crooked and horrible, isn't it?
That's social media, though, isn't it?
Yes. But that's the thing of what Disney has done now. It's tried to take you out of the real world and put you into a fantasy world. So the real life struggles and horrors aren't there, but someone always finds a way to. It's an underlying message. Like doing a lot of work with the lovely guys at Roald Dahl. I remember chatting to it's digressing aside from those 3 questions. Sorry, but again, fanboyed. When I finished the tissue, I was like, I want to make something with Roald Dahl because I fucking love his stories. Obviously, he's not around anymore, so I just emailed the company, and he like, this might be, I'm not going, this is going to be too long for me. But as long as it's short, I've got a lovely opportunity to do, I still do. Like,
All these last time, it was taking it's obviously aside, so.
Several years of work with them, and still continue to have a chat with them about various projects and stuff.
What have you done with Elf Robots?
It's all like,
Again.
coming out, I think the NDAs are finished now, so I'll keep talking about them later. But we were.
Get Tom about it.
Yeah.
Tom's in there a few about it.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But still, the grounds at the time when we were doing like a bulk of work with him, is absolutely a lovely guy. Now, I was chatting about stories and things. It's like, what was Stuart's granddad like? He's twice. He was only also doesn't, he's got lots of memory of it, but it's not. Huh?
You can't do that at all.
No, although you know, do that.
Oh, right.
They're both incredibly tall, and their ages. But he was saying, I remember, I was told a story from Luke about his mum saying they were going to in the past, like a kid's birthday party. Dad, I'll give him a gift. But I can have one of my books. I can have one of my books. No, that one of your books. Yeah, like self-promotion with books. And I thought it was a beautiful story about trying to get, his books out, getting people to read. But the one thing I think Roald enjoyed was like critics telling him what his stories are like. He was like, that's not remotely about what I was trying to say at all. That's your opinion. And so sometimes it is that thing of, it's just people's opinions. When actually when you speak to creators, there's a lot of innocence with stuff I do, but the people trying to fish it.
Like the songs, and it's about artists and like, oh yeah, that means that.
That's made, and that gets you engagement, and that's now within these metrics.
Yeah, flicking through the socials, I think even this morning, like I saw something John Lennon talk in an interview back in the 70s, being like, I'm being Paul, I find, like your interpretation of what this song means is not about Paul, it's actually about me. Paul knows this. As long as we know that, that's the main thing. You can split and say what you want. And I was like, it's quite interesting what the outer world see of the inner world. The half of it, you won't try and believe it, but I guess it's trying to get the opportunity to speak to those people and find out. Second value film, it's got to be Fantastic Fox. It was the first big production I worked on. So I was a huge place in my heart. It's Roald Dahl again. It was nice to be involved with the first Wes Anderson stop motion feature. And I did it just through uni, and I got a phone call about that job, and I was shit-faced. And somebody phoned me, and I was just handing my last little work. So I was on the top of this rooftop bar, and I'm like, Drew, do you go work at my door? I was like, oh, fuck, blood, yeah. So this Fox, and I got on a train to London, and I went to Reading, and I was that drunk, I got on the wrong train. So, and I phoned them back, I got so sorry, got really signing, got fully. And I went to an animation festival, put Annecy in France, and then once I did that, I went back in Birmingham from. So that film was a huge place in my heart, but that is again thanks to
that Annecy was where you thought with.
And that Annecy got playing that with tissue. Yeah, I was being inspired by seeing all these films on the way back. Me and some friends from uni. It was our last time we were all going to really be together for it because we finished uni, and it was like, can we all try and come up with an idea of, like something we're unique and what we've seen? Or there's not been a film that's mixed or juxtaposed all the mediums of animation together. How could we do that? And so we got thinking on the train, it was like, well, there's some seasons and changes and stuff. So it was that kind of stemmed from there. And I was the idiots that kind of carry on and really got stuck in and out there. Only one.
I heard the character's based on you.
Yeah, it's, I mean...
Yeah.
But then, to be fair, all the lads I did picture to have helped in some way, helped me get that film finished. So
That's only your third.
Would have happened.
That's the issue.
No, because it's my own. It's never going to do that.
That's really it's good though, but again, so I watched it again last night. It still stands up, even though it's 10 years. I don't think it's a massive amount of time, but still, like, this is class, isn't it?
I guess because I see all the flaws, so I don't know.
But even in the interview on the BTS, he said he didn't realise how much time and effort, particularly I think it was the 2D stuff. But even
it's always got it up in there.
Yeah.
No, sorry. So even when he said about cutting and editing as well, it's like a bit that stuck with me where like, it's not quite, especially in the stop motion, it's not quite what you want it. And then you're having to edit it and cut it and you're thinking, fucking hell, spend 3 days doing that tiny bit there. Now we want to use it on the cutting room floor. Yeah. But that's what you've got to do, isn't it? Or you're going to take that hat off and use that.
Yeah. There's some stuff we've done. Horrible. It is horrible. I mean, there's some stuff we've done for some TV commercials where we've made some really cool stuff. And, some of the animators have got in it, like, I know it takes a long time to do, but some of the more experienced animators can bang things through quite quickly, depending on what they've got in front of them and how easy it is to rig something and get something going. I mean, we've had some amazing work from some animators, and one of the guys, Tom Edgar, who's one of our kind of, he's a really good friend of mine. He was an animation director, I think, I'm like, ambassador and everything like that. But he's always been one of our go-to guys for animations, and like, I guess, helping me out with advice and direction, not along with a lot of other animators. But he will produce way too much content. And then me and Si will sit there and go, I can't use that, it's just too long. And then it doesn't read up.
Get what you've added.
So there's a lot, it'd be interesting to go back through all of our old footage and see what we could release to go, this is what we shot, what couldn't use because it wasn't approved beforehand. And that again is giving someone the creativity or the freedom to go, have fun. But sometimes there's the intention, it's gone on for too long, it's not fitting in the shot. But it actually would really work if we could expend it. But it depends on the project. For TV commercials, you are set to like usually 30 seconds. It's a promo, maybe a minute, depending on when it's broadcasting. But you've got a set amount of time, so you can't go over.
Have you put it together then as well, wait, and that is after some more best work, and it's kicked up on the adverts, the exec over it now?
Yeah. No.
Well, there's the parameters of that issue for Scott as well. It has to be 18 minutes. It has to be, was that the BTS? Remember
it was the BTS.
Was that the BTS?
Yeah.
But that's what Scott had, so I would.
Yeah. There's a shorter version of some that was before. But I think
parameters for a short film are like this needs to be this and this, otherwise it starts going into this and it's different.
The character art, well, you gotta know that.
It's hard. I think there's so much that goes involved with production. You want to give everybody the opportunity to say, thank you. This is your work shown. We've done stuff, and it's just not been. I can't cut it in. We did stuff. Was on a Star Wars job with Disney once, and we did loads of stuff. And because of their timings, with other stuff that they've had on, and there's live action in there, they have to then chop up or speed our animation up. It's not how we shot it. So when you look, you're like, oh, that's not kind of what the director's around. It works. It tells a story. It's from there, and you go, okay.
No, fine. Start coming in. He hasn't really, hasn't he?
That's it. Yeah. So there's a bit where things that when you've shot them and you've graded them to how you think it fits to something else you edit, but moved them up close and stuff. it's up then to somebody else to kind of make their own verdict of that as well.
I suppose from a company, but you've done what you're paid for, that's your reading, and then you're the artist in your own.
And then eventually,
That's my masterpiece.
but eventually then we can share that, this is all the issues. But that's the same with every single animator that works on a project. If they're lucky enough, because a lot of studios don't do it to them, we try as well to be helpful, but we give them their clip so they've got it to work from.
It's their show.
But they'll analyse what they've shot and see the film and go, oh, they've fucking messed that up there. They've set that up or they've cut that bit out. But, the social community also happens behind the scenes, like no one really sees. It's very best, we're over television and you've got a lot of times. You might be approved at one stage, but then further on down the line, it's got to still go up to the 3 or 4 50 people, and it's like, okay. And then you take even a few weeks to get sorted, so it's a bit. But yeah, as long as you see a result, it's like, so I'm there.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for your time. You're an absolute legend.
Cheers. Keep it up, guys.